Alright, so are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. After a long 3 weeks, the WSL is back and we return with a bumper weekend of Women's Super League action. We kick off this weekend with this Saturday morning London derby as Chelsea welcome London City Lionesses to Stamford Bridge. Should be a very interesting game today. I think this, obviously Chelsea have been in great form. This is going to be a really important game going into Arsenal next weekend, keeping that form going. As for London City, well, these are the sorts of games where they have to start proving themselves. So far this season, they've played 6 matches, and against the 3 biggest teams they've faced, which is Man City, Arsenal and Manchester United, they've been blown out of the water, but then they've been very good against the sides in the bottom 3. They've faced West Ham, they've faced Everton, and they've faced Liverpool. So for London City now, it's how do they bridge that gap? Because at the moment, they're smashing, or at least they're getting smashed by those top teams, but then they are narrowly beating those smaller sides in the league. How do they start to bridge that gap? Well, today will be interesting. Chelsea, I think, will be keen to get a big win on the board. They haven't had many drubbings this season. I think you look at the games where they would usually expect maybe 4 or 5 goals, and they played Leicester, and that was only 1-0. They played Tottenham, and that was only 1-0. So I think Chelsea will be really keen to score a few goals, make this more of a comprehensive victory than perhaps the most recent results have been. I think Stamford Bridge will help. I think Chelsea really struggle at Kingsmeadow because of how tight the pitch is. I think they struggle to then break down low blocks, but I think today at Stamford Bridge there's a lot of space to use. I think they'll do really well to stretch that London City backline, so should be interesting. Tarkovsky, welcome to the stream, mentioning the Hampton and Earps controversy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Mary Earps's book coming out. From the passages we've seen already, it's very interesting. I did tweet out about my thoughts on that. It's one of those situations. I don't want to go into it too much in today's stream, but I think Mary Earps doesn't have much of a leg to stand on then. Paul says, hello, is there any WSL games available to watch for free this weekend? There are some, I think 1 potentially today. Not sure on Man City, West Ham, that may be available free. And I think there are 2 tomorrow, so should be interesting. Riley welcome to the stream as well, saying, hate the 12 o'clock games. Have to say I agree to an extent. I think the Saturday slot being 12 o'clock is really good. Personally, because I like to go and watch non-league football at 3 o'clock. I like that it's quite early, but I completely agree there should be more of a spread. I think the fact there's 4 games on at the same time tomorrow is really poor. I think it's even worse when they do it on the same weekends as men's international breaks, because there's no justification not spread it over the day. But today, yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend. There's a lot of action, should be a lot of fun. And let's get started then with the lineups for today's game, because there are some interesting choices, I think, amongst the bench. There are some interesting choices because there are players back from injury for both sides, which are quite interesting. Let's start with the Chelsea team as we are at Stamford Bridge today. It looks like a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 for the Blues. In goal, Hannah Hampton, of course, keeping her #1 spot. Then in the back 3, it's Bronze, Bjorn and Millie Bright. A return from injury for Lucy Bronze then, who did make a cameo appearance in their last WSL game and did play, of course, in their last Champions League match as well. In wing-backs, it's Carpenter and Baltimore, with a midfield pivot maintaining that Walsh-Cuthbert connection. And then it's Nuskin and Wrighton flanking Chelsea's top scorer so far this season in Aggie Beaver-Jones. I think it's an interesting team for Chelsea. I'm a little surprised by the selection of the 2 10s. I think Wrighton in that role is a little bit interesting to me. I know we saw it a bit last season where Bon Pastor was experimenting with Wrighton in a more central role. I'm not sure that is her best position, but there we go. I think Nusk and Hart at the pitch don't have too much of a problem with. I think she can definitely do that role, but I think it's interesting. I think that your best players in those sort of positions are your likes of Micah Hamano, your Vika Captines, your Kat Macarios. And so potentially a little bit of resting them up, because obviously there is a big game coming up next week where Chelsea face Arsenal. You would assume going into that game, it would be some combination of Micah and Vika Captine, or Micah Hamano and, I mean, they'd love to have Lauren James back for selection, but I don't think she'll be ready to start. But yeah, those sorts of players in there. So perhaps that's why we're seeing Wrighton in there today, because she's unlikely to start next week. But yeah, interesting to see that selection there. The midfield pivot staying the same makes sense. I don't really, you look at the other options in there, and I mean, you could have Nuskin deeper, I guess, but I wouldn't play Jean-Francois next weekend. And I think maybe this could have been a chance, a game to give Orion Jean-Francois an opportunity in defensive midfield, but Yeah, there we go. I think we'll see more of those players given chances in the Champions League, and then perhaps when we get round to the League Cup in the new year and the FA Cup and competitions like that. But this does feel like the kind of game where Chelsea could have given other opportunities. I think it's good to see Lucy Bronze back, and she is going to go have this 90 minutes potentially, or maybe if she's even given only 70 today or something like that, it'll give her a chance to get back to fitness. So yeah, I don't hate that too much. Beaver Jones leading the line, I think, is an interesting one as well. After that knock, could there have been a precaution taken there? Could we have seen Sam Kerr potentially start a game? I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it could have been a bit more exciting, this lineup, but I think it is a very solid Chelsea team, and I think it shows a lot about what we expect to see from Chelsea this weekend, but also next weekend when they face Arsenal. I'd expect that this three-back will then maintain into the Arsenal game, much like we saw against Manchester City. But it is interesting to see Chelsea playing the more potentially defensive system today against the London City side. It shows that Chelsea really respect their opponent, and as they should really, I guess, with London City. They are a side with a lot of top talent. So it does make sense to that extent to be a little bit more defensive. But I think with the way that London City have played this season, there shouldn't be that much concern around them. They're a team who have been beaten quite considerably by the other top teams in the league. And so Chelsea should be able to do that. So I think it's a little bit interesting to see that. But potentially the three, or if you want to call it a five-back, will be something that is with Arsenal in mind next weekend. So yeah, it's interesting to see, but I don't hate it too much. Let's take a look at the visitors then, the London City side. Not 100% sure what the formation is for London City today. It's either a five-back with Kumagai in the back line, or it is a four-back and Kumagai's playing midfield. Not 100% sure, but we'll work it out as we kick off. In goal, it's Anali. A back four, I'm going to guess, of Fernandez, Sangare, Linari and Imran. In the pivot, then, it's Kumagai alongside Gallardo. On one wing, Freya Godfrey. On the other, Nikita Paris. Kosofora Esselani, who's London City's best performer so far this season in the 10. And leading the line, Isabel Goodwin. So we know with London City, it's going to look a bit like a 4-4-2 when they don't have the ball. And we'll see Goodwin and Asllani pressing up against that Chelsea back line. I think what's going to be really interesting for me is how aggressive Gallardo is allowed to be. Because I think with Chelsea's midfield, and obviously the way they're going to build out with a three-back today, if Gallardo is sat off with Kumagai, it's going to leave a lot of space in that midfield for Chelsea. So, but if she's given that licence to push up and London City take a bit of a risk in that regard, I think that could give Chelsea some problems, because if they can press onto both Walsh and Cuthbert, it's going to make it very difficult for Chelsea to play out there. But if London City are conservative, which would make sense given the opponent, I think there could be a route through then the middle of the park. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Chelsea with the wing-backs, they will look to progress it out wide. I think with London City, playing Godfrey and Paris makes sense. They want to have two wingers who are more wide midfielders in a sense, so they're able to track those runs of the wing-backs. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting. My only surprise is if London City are going for this four-back today, is that I would have expected a three-back just so they sort of go player for player. Because if they had a back three today up against Chelsea's sort of front three, they can go player for player. The fullbacks then can, or the wing-backs can take the wing-backs, and it makes it easier then to mark each player individually. Whereas if you are playing a back four against Chelsea's front five at times, because of how the wing-backs push forwards, you've either got to drop both wingers deep to be able to make up for it, and then you end up with a bit of a back six at times, or you're going to get overrun. So it's going to be interesting to see what London City are doing. I mean, I guess the other option is Saki Kumagai drops in between the centre-backs, and then they form a back five when they don't have the ball. That is also an option. So it'll be interesting. Jocelyn Poyet is a very good manager. I don't think this will be an easy game for Chelsea today, but they should make it an easy game. That's the thing. London City are a very good calibre of opponent, but looking at how other teams have torn them apart, Chelsea should learn from that. And this is a game where Chelsea should be aiming to really run rampant. So it's going to be interesting. I hope Chelsea score a few goals today. I think that the team that is out there are good enough to get a few goals today. I think it's really important to get the fans back on side. I think that as much as Chelsea fans love the fact we're winning games at the moment, I think there is a bit of a frustration amongst the fan base that the manner of victory hasn't been incredible. You want to see the 5 goals, the 4 goals, the 3 goals. You want to see this all-out attacking football. And we haven't really seen that apart from the game against West Ham. And that was more due to how poor West Ham were than anything else. But apart from that game, we've not really seen that sort of free-flowing attacking football. So I think that is going to be interesting to see if Chelsea can supply that today, especially against the London City side, who have been, well, I think terrible is putting it mildly at the back. So Chelsea have got to expose those defensive weaknesses. They've got to expose that miscommunication and that lack of understanding amongst that backline. They've got to open up gaps, and they've got to break London City down with ease, really, and find a route to goal. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think Chelsea should be strong favourites, though. We'll also be keeping tabs on the other 12 o'clock game kicking off as Manchester City take on West Ham. The interesting thing from that game is that, well, I saw it listed as a 5-back. I think it is actually going to be a 4-back. I was excited to see if it was potentially the Yeglets 3 that we saw him use at the Euros. I thought that might be what we're seeing today. It's not, but it's still interesting to see their lineup anyway. No Alex Green with them today, so that is a big concern. As for West Ham, well, they are still pointless so far this WSL season. They're yet to score a goal from open play, so I would be very surprised if that is anything other than a comprehensive Manchester City victory. I say to us, is Bronze playing in midfield today? No, Lucy Bronze is not playing in midfield. It'll be Lucy Bronze on the right side of a back three, Carpenter right wing back, Baltimore left wing back. It's something we saw, well, we knew would happen. There was a conversation earlier in this season about what happens when Bronze and Carpenter are both fit. Now, for me, they both rotate in that right back role, but we saw when that question was posed to Bonpastor, she answered, well, Lucy can play a multitude of positions. She can play as the right back, she can play as a right wing back, or she can play as a right centre half. So we saw a little bit of Bronze playing centre half last season. I'm not surprised to see her using that role today. But yeah, I'm hoping it's only 70 minutes. The ideal really is that Bronze gets 70 minutes today so that she's up to full fitness pretty much. And then you bring Naomi Gurma in, who does make the bench for the first time this season as a Chelsea player. Very exciting times. Other interesting ones, well, the bench is pretty normal other than that. No Lauren James yet. There was an expectation she would return for today's game, but unfortunately still not quite fit enough. But yeah, positive signs for Chelsea. Some of the big players coming back. Let's get into predictions then. If you're watching along with me today, get involved in the live chat. Let me know your score prediction. As for my prediction, well, firstly, let's take a look in the polling chat. So we've got 80 votes so far. Thanks to everyone who's got involved. 86% going the way of the home side, the Blues. 8% going for a draw, and just 6% predicting a London City Lionesses victory. I still feel that's quite high, considering, but you never know. Maybe we'll see them pull off an upset. But yeah, a lot of people in chat backing Chelsea. So get involved in the live chat. Let me know your score prediction. As for mine, I am going to say, it's going to be interesting today. I will say Chelsea 3, London City 0. I think I was tempted to go for London City goal because they have been quite good at just nicking a goal even when they're not playing well. And I do want Chelsea to score more than 3. But I'll say 3-0. I think Chelsea will be keen to get a big win today. I think defensively they've got players that are good enough to keep out the London City players. If you look at the goals that London City have scored, they tend to come from little errors and stuff like that. Even the goal against Manchester United. United have been the best defensive team in the league this season, but it was just a bit of an error that allowed them to break down the right-hand side and cross it into the box. So I think they're too reliant on capitalising on errors, and I don't think Chelsea will make enough errors in this game for London City to capitalise on. But you never know. Let's see. Zeta saying, not predicting anything today. Fair enough. HB going 4-0 Chelsea. David Fraser matching my prediction of 3-0 Chelsea. As for goal scorers, I'm going to say an Aggie Beaver-Jones brace. I think she started the season in scintillating form. The last few weeks have been a little more quiet. I think she'll be back to her best today. I think she'll get a brace. And I will say, I'm so tempted to say, you know what, Sam Kerr off the bench. I'm going Sam Kerr off the bench. I think she's really close to a start now, Sam Kerr. And I think this will be the kind of game where she gets off the bench, gets a goal. Is there an opportunity that Sam Kerr starts against Arsenal? We'll have to wait and see. We did see Bonpastor say that she's close to a start. Now, I'd expect that to be SK and St Paulton. I thought it might be today. Of course, it's not, as we know now. I expect that will probably be SK and St Paulton, but could we see Sam Kerr start against Arsenal? You never know. Benjamin, welcome to the stream, saying 2-0 Chelsea. S-Head not happy with the 50 defenders on the pitch, apparently, for Chelsea. I think with how high Carpenter and Baltimore will be today, or at least I hope they'll be today, I don't think it's going to feel like a 5-back. But I understand the concerns. If those players do get penned in, if they do get sort of pegged back by London City, it could lead Chelsea being a little bit bogged down at times, where those wing-backs just can't quite get out. But I think if Chelsea play the way they know they can, what we'll see more of is three defenders on the halfway line for Chelsea and everyone else pushing forward to try and get a goal. So I think, you know, we should see Chelsea dominate in the opposition half. And I think playing at Stamford Bridge, where there's a lot more space to use, that 5-back will be incredibly effective. And I think it's really good that Chelsea are getting familiar with that, because I would say a back 5 will be much better to use when we face Barcelona. Well, of course, in November, but then also later in the season. Well, we're about to get underway here at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea getting us started from the middle, and it's Aggie Beever-Jones waiting for the referee's whistle and knocks it back. And we're underway here at Stamford Bridge. It's WSL Match Week 7. Chelsea taking on London City Lionesses at Stamford Bridge, and it's the Blues who start with the ball. Here is Bjorn. Now Bronze. Passes into Walsh. Walsh now looking to put the ball in behind. And that is something that Nuskan will give chase to. Putting pressure there on Linari. And that is out for a Chelsea throw. And a chance already to get the ball high at the pitch. Carpenter takes it quickly. Here is Beever-Jones now. Pulls out of the penalty area to receive the ball. Bronze. Now Beever-Jones. And across now to Millie Bright, who could look to hit it. Manages to turn instead. Here is Bronze. Back to Bright. Goes out to the left-hand side. Here comes Chelsea. Baltimore. Back towards Cuthbert. Takes it back towards Nuskan. Sorry, takes it in a stride well. One back though by London City. Bright there stops the counter-attack. Ryan, tune on to the stream. Thank you so much for becoming a member. For anyone who hasn't seen, we have recently, we will have an announcement out soon, but we have made memberships live on the channel. So if you are interested, head on over to the memberships tab and go and find out what the perks are. We will be doing a more proper announcement soon, so if you want to wait for that, feel free to do so. But yeah, we have got something planned with memberships. So if you are if you watch a lot of these streams and want to help us out even more, then go ahead and become a member. Thank you so much, Ryan, for that. Here is London City. Sangare now back to Fernandez. Here's Sangare. Chelsea putting her under pressure. That's a misplaced pass. Chance now for Cuthbert, bearing in on goal. What a block from Wassa Sangare. Recovers so well in there because she got the pass massively wrong a moment before, and they're still trying to play out from the back here. London City. Here is Sangare. They got away with it on this occasion for now. Out to Fernandez. But wow, Erin Cuthbert should have capitalised on that. London City looking to break away now. Aslani holds it up well. Here's Godfrey on the overlap. Has options in the penalty area if she can pick them out. Puts it across the box. Good win. Can't quite get there. But that was a great chance for the Blues. A misplaced pass from Wassa Sangare. Cuthbert picks up in the box and probably should have scored. We'll see it here again. She's looking to play Saki Kumagai. She just misplaces it. Cuthbert bursts into the penalty area, looks to put it to the left of the goalkeeper. Sangare, though, recovers really well, makes up for that mistake with a goal-saving block. But already we're seeing London City try and play out from the back, and they're not quite getting it right. And we've seen that so much this season. Chelsea have got to take advantage of that today. Linari, big challenge there to stop the ball getting through to Aggie Beever-Jones. And now a throw in on the right-hand side, and it's Carpenter. Tries to throw it forwards. And now Sangare. Back to Anna Lee under pressure here from Beever-Jones. Knocks it out to the right-hand side. One in the air well by Millie Bright. And now it drops, and here come London City. Bright has to recover across. They're still going though, and now there's a space in behind because here comes Grace Gayuro driving towards goal, and that is an effort that she would love to have back. Driving towards goal, and she's just struck that all wrong. Should have done better with that opportunity. It's nice play from London City Lionesses. Bright stepped up, missed the challenge. Gayoro was in and really should have done better with that chance. Hampton drills the ball forwards, and it's gone right over the top of the London City backline. Linari will knock it back to Leet though. And now they'll play out to the left-hand side. Here is Imran. Plays it down the line, looking for Nikita Paris. Lovely hold up from Paris. Though her second touch not quite as good, and it takes her off the field. Here is Bronze. This is my biggest problem with the way Chelsea are playing right now, is that by using Bright as a left centre-half and inverting the right back, what you end up doing is you end up with a back three that has Bright on the left-hand side, and that's a lot of space for her to cover. And what we're seeing so much this season is that she keeps stepping up, or she keeps getting dragged wide, and players are beating her in that one-on-one. When you leave her so exposed, it is a bit of a risk. So I think she's got to play on the right-hand side of that back two to then be in the middle of the back three. That's where she'll be stronger and more protected. But at the moment, she keeps playing on the left-hand side of that back three, and it's leaving Chelsea very vulnerable to transitional moments. There was another one there with Gayoro where she really should have taken advantage of it. And we've seen it too many times this season. Chelsea opened up in transitions. Bronze back now to Hannah Hampton. Back to Bronze. Waiting for a forward option. And Nusken drops deep to receive the pass. Carpenter puts it back down the line. Lovely touch from Wrighton back to Nusken. Now Guro Wrighton can look to spread the play. And she knocks it out to the left-hand side. And here comes Sondi Baltimore. Chelsea with numbers on the attack now. Baltimore looks to take on Fernandez. Goes to the outside. Fernandez stands her up really well. Still Baltimore across the box. Chance now. And Ellie Carpenter's there to finish it off. Lovely move from the Blues. Baltimore tested. She kept going up against Fernandez, knocks it across the box, and Ellie Carpenter's there to score. A lovely move on the attack from Chelsea, and it's capped off by Ellie Carpenter at the back post. Lovely goal, really well worked movement there from Chelsea. They won it back, they played out from the back really well, and then were able to, it's a lovely combination between Nusken and Wrighton. She spreads the play, then Guro Wrighton out to Sondi Baltimore. Baltimore drives forward with purpose. She wants to take players on, and she ends up taking on Fernandez, going to the outside and slotting it across the box. And that's Chelsea 1, London City Lionesses 0. And that's a really important start. This game started quite open. There were chances at both ends. It looked like a game that could get quite pinball-y, quite basketball-like. But I think that goal might just go a long way to sort of stop that. We've seen this season, the longer you allow London City into the game, the more difficult it becomes to break them down. But by scoring that early goal, by taking the lead, that could give Chelsea a big advantage. Phil's annoyed because he swapped Beaver Jones for Sam Kerr in fantasy. Yeah, I clean slated this week, but I did hold on to Beaver Jones. I did get rid of Carpenter though, so there we go. I was worried that with Bronze back, she may not play. I didn't think that they would play both of them. Good pressure there from London City. Isabel Goodwin getting in front of that forward pass from Hampton, but it is out for a Chelsea goal kick. Sato says, poor there from the goalkeeper. Don't know how she didn't get a hand to that cross. Yeah, probably should have done better with that ball across her own penalty area. But again, it's this lack of understanding, I think, for London City of where they should be, of that lack of communication and understanding of each other's movement, because it's either got to be someone from the back line or the goalkeeper pushing out, and both of them sort of leave it for someone else to do, and it's just too easy. But I do agree Lee probably should have been the one to act in that case. But again, it's that misunderstanding, it's that hesitation that you wouldn't see from a team who understand each other, and London City just don't seem to at the moment. Anna Lee sending it forwards, and Bjorn wins that aerial duel. Paris back now to Gayoro. Here's Sangare. We'll go back to our goalkeeper, Beaver Jones, quick to put her under the cosh. But that is a good ball out to the left-hand side. Bronze chests it down low to Nikita Paris. Good challenge from the recovering Ellie Carpenter. Now here's Walsh. Bronze. Walsh. Lucy Bronze. Lovely hold up from Guro Wrighton. And Chelsea maintain possession. Here is Bronze. Plays it in behind, and now here is Cuthbert, and here come Chelsea. Good defending though from Gayoro. Got back in there, was physical, was aggressive with Cuthbert, and wins it back well for London City. And now LCL looking to play out to the left-hand side, and it's Imran driving it forwards here for the visitors. Goodwin. Great hold up there against Natalie Bjorn. She's been forced back into her own half now, and it's won back there by Bjorn, and well, Chelsea players were dropping there when they needed to be coming forwards, and she's out of options. And it's back in the possession of London City. Kumagai. Sangare. Now Leet. Out to the right-hand side. And again, that strong aerial presence of Bright comes out on top. And now Chelsea back in possession. David asks, who comes out for Germa? I think it's less transactional than that. It's more, Chelsea will be rotational with how they're using their squads. I think we'll see Germa used in some games in one of the two centre-back positions. More likely the left centre-half position where Millie Bright is, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Bright back at right centre-half, for example. Ball in behind now, and Beaver Jones is in. Sangare will get across well, and that's really good physical defending from Sangare. Could have got that wrong, could have conceded a free kick and a red card, but she got it right. She just judged that physical balance well and wins the ball back. And now here come London City, and it's Paris away on the left-hand side. Bronze gets back in well. Paris slots it to Goodwin. Here come London City, won back well by Bjorn. And now it's back to Bronze. Lovely pass from Hampton into Baltimore. That's such a well-driven pass. Baltimore now in a little bit of trouble. Nowhere to go, and it's one heart the pitch here by Fernandez. Back now. That's again a misplaced pass. Does find it way to Sangare, but they want to go to Kumagai, and the problem that creates is it just slows the play down. Super aggressive there from Bronze. Probably a free kick. Not given though, and Chelsea have possession. Walsh. Bronze. Pass across to Bright under pressure from Godfrey. Lovely pass around the corner into Nusken. And now back to Baltimore. Here is Bright. So it says, by the way, these kick-off times have been jarring this season. Yeah, I know. I think a lot of the discourse at the moment around the women's game has been negative on kick-off times. There was a really good article posted by, I forget the name of the writer now, but it was for Impetus, if anyone knows Impetus Football. Quite a good news site. It was an article looking at fan responses, and it asked for fan responses, and it also spoke about why Sky are doing it. It's a really good article, but again, yeah, it just shows that there is a bit of a clash at the moment in what the women's football fans want and the audience that Sky are trying to target. So yeah, it's always going to be, I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but they could do a lot better to get women's football fans on side. Here's Carpenter, great drive forwards, chance now for Chelsea. Carpenter lets fly, but she'd again want that effort back. Doesn't quite strike it as well as she did the first. Well, to be fair, the first wasn't a great strike, was it? But didn't need to be that close to goal. But yeah, Carpenter here bursts forwards, looking for her and Chelsea's second of the game, but unable to find the target. Chelsea fan, welcome to the stream. I'm doing well, thank you for asking. I'm looking forward to another weekend of WSL action. You know, we've been a little bit quiet on the channel in the last 2 weeks. There wasn't much to cover. Last week we only had one video out. Apologies for that. Sometimes life does get in the way. But we are back now. We've got 2 streams this weekend, another 2 next weekend. We'll have videos out throughout the week, so look out for all of that. And then we're back into Champions League action as well after next weekend. Here's Sonny, Baltimore, Chelsea coming forwards, puts it across the box. Chance of Beaver Jones, cleared away well by Linardi, and that's a Chelsea corner. That's a good move from the Blues. Sonny, Baltimore probably could have done better with that delivery. Just looked to loop it to the back post. But I think if you're expecting Beaver Jones to win the header up against Elena Linardi, you are, well, dreaming. But you never know. But I think she had better options there than to loop that to the back post. And it's a good header away from Linardi. Chelsea corner though. And corners have been a frustration for Chelsea recently. That this is a better delivery. Bronze meets it. And it is deflected wide, and that will be another Chelsea corner. That's a much better delivery. I think there's been a lot of frustration around corners recently. I remember Cuthbert taking about 15 in the West Ham game, or the Tottenham game, was it? Yeah, it was a Tottenham game, and none of them were any good. It's good at writing on corners this week, though, and that was a good first attempt. Will the second one be just as good, or better? So, Wrighton puts into the area, flicked on by Beaver Jones. Carpenter bounce around. Here is Bronze, back to Bright. Not sure if she's onside. Apparently she is. Wrighton, Cuthbert through the lines, looking for Wrighton again. Cuts it back, it bounces around, and it's back in the hands of Anna Leet. Oliver says, I do think if kickoffs were 1 hour later, we'd get more crowds at games. True, but you can't. The problem with it, you can't have a 1 o'clock kickoff. On men's weeks, or on men's Premier League weeks because of the blackout. I don't think the blackout applies on international weeks, which is why we'd sometimes see, well, in a few weeks' time, we've got a 1:30 kickoff in the women's game for the Manchester Derby on a Saturday. Terrible kickoff time, but you do have that slight problem because you can't have it clash. I don't mind the 12 o'clock on a Saturday. I think it is going to have an impact on crowds, of course, but I don't mind the 12 o'clock slot. I think the bigger problem is the Sunday slots. I'd love more Friday night games. I think. But again, they've got to be right. It can't be an 8 o'clock where you've got a team from London travelling up to Manchester or something. You've got to get those right. But it'd be good to have more coverage over the weekend, especially on weeks where we don't have Champions League action. Why don't we have a Monday night game or something this week? That'd be something different. Especially when the men's game, because of how many competitions they've got, don't really have games on Mondays and Fridays anymore. At least at the Premier League level, I should say. Obviously, there's still Championship games and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think Sky could do a lot more with their coverage of the women's game. And I think putting 4 games on at once is a really stupid way of doing it. Linari knocks out to the right-hand side. Baltimore clears it away. And now Sangare back to Fernandez. Now looking to play forwards. And it's back now to Sangare. Linari tries to play it forwards. Lovely hold up from Paris. Now out to the left-hand side. Imran knocks it down the line. Aslani, Bronze wins it back. Can't quite keep it in touch though. So that's out for a London City throw-in. So 15 minutes gone, a quarter of an hour gone. It's been a fairly competitive game so far. I think London City's still doing well to come forward despite the early goal and the early pressure from Chelsea, but they haven't really threatened Hannah Hampton at all. And Chelsea haven't really kicked on since that goal, but haven't had many chances since then. But they are now trying to progress the ball. Beaver-Jones, though, with nowhere to go. Lovely dribbling from Aggie Beaver-Jones, and it opens up the pitch, and there's space on the left-hand side if they can find it. Bright into Baltimore. Waiting for options. Rise the challenge well with Godfrey. That's not a great pass though. Back to Wrighton and now here. Back to Nuska, sorry. Here come London City. Goodwin poking it through. Looking for the run of Aslani. Good defending initially from Walsh. Back now for Godfrey. Crosses it in the box. And Bjorn gets it away well. Kumagai tries to chest it down. That's going to drop for Baltimore. One back well by Godfrey. Now Fernandez. Clips in the area, headed on by Goodwin, and Hampton's out well to claim it. How does Chelsea need to put this to bed and then rest up for next week? Yeah, I'd agree. I think Chelsea will want to see some involvement from Naomi Girma. I think they'll want to see more minutes for Sam Kerr today. I think there's anyone else that needs minutes for fitness. I'd like to see more of Jean-Francois. We've not really seen her this season. I'd love to see more of her. I think it's the kind of game where Alyssa Thompson could come on and terrorise, really, that London City backline. Carpenter. Bronze. Back to Carpenter. Cuthbert. Back to Carpenter. Lovely football. Here is Guro Wrighton. That's a great switch to the play. And it's Sondi Baltimore now. Driving it forward. Tries to slot it through the lines. Drops back for Baltimore. Wrighton. One back well by Imran. Aslani. Now Fernandez. Across now to Linari. Now to the left-hand side with Imran. Pass inside to Kumagai. Almost robbed the possession there by Beaver-Jones, who couldn't quite win the ball back. Fernandez. Now Sangare. London City just slowing this game down, knocking the ball around the back. And Elite sends it forwards. Bronze doesn't quite win the header, but it drops now for Bjorn. One back out the pitch here as Imran wants to verse forwards. Really good challenge though from Carpenter to recover it. Hampton. Now Bright. Sjokonusken. Lovely turn in there, and here come Chelsea. A pass through to Guro Wrighton. One back well there by Linari, and it bounced around. Apparently there was a foul in there. Wrighton just catching Elena Linari. Not sure Wrighton knew much about it. But that will be a London City free kick. But yeah, Wrighton, it just goes to kick the ball. Linari comes in for the challenge. I think she just gets caught. And then Kumagai and Aslani all end up on top of each other. So London City with a free kick. This will be a chance to get the ball forwards. I think Proyce will be proud of how his side's managed to stay in this game, at least in terms of having the ball and trying to get forwards, but they've got to get more shots away. 2 shots so far, yet to put one on target, and 0.08 XG. Chelsea, for reference, have had 3 big chances already this game, and missed 2 of them, obviously scored one through Ellie Carpenter. 4 shots with 2 on target, 0.75 XG, so sort of night and day in that regard. Fernandes knocks it down the line. Lovely hold up there from Aslani. One back though well by the tenacious Kira Walsh. And she knocks it across to Sioka Nusken. Now out to Bronze. And Chelsea will look to progress the ball down the right-hand side. Bronze is going to slow it down. I think it's quite noticeable what Chelsea are doing today in that they want to get the ball to the right-hand side, slow it down, invite London City across, and then quite quickly transition the ball to the left-hand side, switch the play and use that space. It's exactly how they scored their first goal. It's exactly what's the opposite of what they did against Man City, but it's the same sort of principle, just on the different on the other side of the pitch. But it's quite clear what Chelsea are trying to do. But the problem is it's very difficult, even when you understand it, to stop it because you've got to nail the pressing to not allow the ball out to the other side of the pitch. Bronze knocks in the box, chance for Nusken, heads it over the goal. And that is a big chance for Chelsea. Goes begging. It's a great delivery from Lucy Bronze. Pinpoint cross to the head of Sioka Nusken. Nusken, though, does get there ahead of Annalie. Just can't quite keep her header down. It's a little bit of a difficult one for Nusken. She comes onto this really well. Bronze just judges it perfectly. Nusken judges it well, but I mean, to be fair, she's running onto it. She has to get over the ball and head down or head flat rather than get under it and just sort of loop the header up. Because realistically, even if you head down there and Annalie is coming forwards, she's not going to claim that ball, or at least she's not going to do it with ease. That's just a flat header or a header down. It's going to be very difficult for London City to deal with. Here is Bjorn. Now Walsh. Lovely pass through the lines into Wrighton, who gives it to Cuthbert and tries to squeeze a pass through there to Nusken. But it's won back well by Kumagai. Elite out to the right-hand side. Godfrey nods it past Millie Bright. And Bjorn is quick across, and it's won back by Aslani, but Hampton's there, and she launches it into the east stand. Great sweeper keepering there from Hannah Hampton. Gets out well. Makes up for us a little bit of a mess between Millie Bright and Natalie Bjorn. So here is Jana Fernandes. Getting my Barcelona WSL exports mixed up there. Godfrey. One back well by Walsh. She looks to drive it forwards. Skyoro's done well though to get in her way. And so that is a London City free kick. But yeah, Cuthbert wanted to drive it forwards. CW says, all headers that aren't downward are bad ideas. With downward headers saved, there's a chance of a rebound instead of a goal kick. Yeah, it depends on the situation, but broadly, yeah, I agree. You know, if you have to head it over a goal kick from a certain range, then yeah, fair enough. But when you're in that sort of proximity, and Lee is coming forwards, heading it downwards, she's not going to catch it. So she's either going to miss it or she's going to just deflect it off wildly. Kumagai competing with Bronze. Walsh wins the header and there is an offside flag in there anyway. So one of the London City players there drifting into an offside position. I believe it was Nikita Paris. Chelsea now playing out from the back. Bright. Into Baltimore. Back to Bright. And now Hampton. Knocks out to the right-hand side. Here's Bjorn. Hampton. Looking for a forward option. Well, at this point, she might just drive out herself. Goes across to Bright instead. Turns into Baltimore. Pass it forwards into Beaver Jones. Massive sky graphic there covering it as she receives the pass. And ends up conceding a throw-in. And while Jocelyn Proisher is trying to take it, he won't be allowed. Here is Fernandez. As Harry says in the live chat, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. If this is your first time watching the Women's Football Chat, hit that subscribe button. We're live every weekend for WSL action. We're live for all the Champions League games as well. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us for more. Reminder, we will be live at 12 o'clock tomorrow as Manchester United take on Brighton. Here is Leet. Pass through the lines into Kumagai. Imran. Driving that ball forwards. And Carter gets back in there well, but here come London City Lionesses, and it's Paris on the left-hand side, wants to take on Lucy Bronze. And one back well by Carpenter. Bronze lashes it forwards. And Anari wins the header against Wrighton. One back up the pitch here by Nusken, and she'll look to play it in behind now for the run of Aggie Beaver Jones. It's a well-timed ball. Lee out quickly though. Bounce around in midfield. Gayora manages to chest it down. Everything about London City's play is just remarkably frantic. I feel that it's a symptom of the fact they don't fully understand each other. Everything is just like 100 miles an hour, ball getting smashed around the pitch. It's a very high-octane way to play football, and it can result in a lot of times where actually if they just calm down, they'll keep the ball, but instead they just sort of smash it forwards and then lose possession. Here is Aslani. But then other times we see these sort of quick breaks where they just, smash the ball forwards and they're in behind. But, yeah. Beaver Jones, great pressure there. Sangare managed to get it back to Lee, who will clear her lines well. Bjorn tries to knock it down, only to Saki Kumagai though, and here come London City. Great tackle in there from Nusken. It's Paris comes away with the ball. Nusken wins it back, only as far as Linari though. Harry says he's surprised West Ham haven't conceded yet. Yeah. And Oliver letting us know that there is an injury to Khadija Shaw. But it looks like she will continue in that game. Anyway, just playing out from the back now. And it's Hannah Hampton. Now Bright. Lovely pass into Erin Cuthbert. Back now to Walsh. Nusken. It's quite interesting to see how Chelsea are playing today. In the build-up phase, what we're seeing more of is it's quite interesting to watch. What we're seeing is that it drops into a 4-back and a midfield 3. So it's a 4-3-3 in the early possession phase. It's obviously then becoming a 3-2-4-1 as they progress the ball. But it's quite interesting to see Wrighton coming wide and Baltimore playing as that left-back, Carpenter pushing up as a right winger in those early build-up stages. And then Nusken dropping into midfield. But I like it. They've been open to easily here, Chelsea. And here's Isabel Goodwin. Brilliant challenge there. Recovering challenge from Lucy Bronze. And now here is Baltimore. Has Fernandez on her back. Wants to spin her. That was a firm challenge from Fernandez. And it's deemed over the line there by the referee. And as we say, City haven't scored yet. They have now. Miedemar out to the left-hand side. And it's a really tidy finish there from Ayoba Fagino. A player who's been in really good form this season for Manchester City. A player who was in my fantasy WSL team last week. A player who's no longer in my aerial fantasy team this week. Brilliant stuff. 2 goals so far. Both players I used to have in aerial fantasy. I'm having a really good week so far. Here is Bright. Knocks out to the right-hand side. Carpenter. Now Bronze. Walsh. Looks to knock it in behind. Linari, though, does well to stop that ball running through to Guro Wrighton. Here is Linari. Paris. Good win there from Kira Walsh. And now here is Cuthbert. And she'll knock it out to the right-hand side. And it's Nusken here who's come wide. Sorry, Beaver Jones. Waiting for support. Gives it to the overlapping runner Carpenter, who knocks it into the box. Chance now for Nusken. Headed away well by Fernandez. And it drops now for Paris. And London City will look to break away. Imran. Good turn there from Goodwin. And now here come London City. She's driving that ball forwards. About Goodwin across the box. But Godfrey can't quite get there. She'll now recover it and keep it alive. Puts on the edge of the area. And it's one back. And now Chelsea will look to drive it forwards. Here is Cuthbert looking around for any Chelsea shirts. Lee says, what's the fantasy called? It's called Aerial Fantasy. If you're looking to join the app, we are obviously 7 game weeks in this season, but there's no reason why you can't catch up, well, with me at this point. Here is Beaver Jones. Wants to take on Sangare. That's not how to play for a Chelsea throw. And a reminder, if you are playing Aerial Fantasy, we do have a custom league code, TWFC, if you want to join. Means you can view where we are before our episodes, and of course you can compete directly against us. Bronze. Cross now to Bright, who looks to strike it from range, Millie Bright, and that it was not a million miles away. It looked to be a poor effort initially, but it just seemed to dip towards that far corner. Doesn't quite find the target though. Brian says they need a hindsight chip where I can put Carpenter back in my team. Yeah, I did a clean slate this week. I'd like to unclean the slate. I'd like the dirty slate I had before. I'd like it back, please. But yeah. London City now playing out from the back. Linari under pressure from Beaver Jones. Does really well, though. Under the press, and then is brought down by Aggie Beaver Jones. But yeah. Oliver's very happy to have Carpenter in his Aerial Fantasy team. And apparently it is 2-0 City as well. So wait and find out who scored that. Not much of a surprise. Harry says West Ham are in huge trouble this season. I mean, I thought that before this game. I think this could be a long day. Oliver says, no, it's just a replay. I thought they scored again. Brilliant. Thank you, Oliver. So still 1-0 Manchester City in that game then. Fernandes, one back by Nusken. Great hold up there from Beaver Jones. Baltimore now through the lines looking for Nusken. Can't quite find her, and Elite does well there to jump on the ball. Sham's asking, not watching, how are Carpenter and Bronze playing together? It's Bronze as a right centre half in a back three, and Carpenter is playing as a sort of right wing back hybrid role. It's exactly what we've seen quite a lot this season from Chelsea. It's just that, Bronze a little bit more aggressive as that right back. We've seen her dropping into a right back position. We've seen her at right centre half, we've seen her pushing into midfield. So it's just a bit more of an aggressive option than other players have used in that role. So at times this season we've seen Fiona Berman in the side as that left centre half, and so Bjorn becomes the right centre half, and that's your back three, and that's three central defenders. With Bronze in there, you get someone who's a little bit more dynamic on the right side. The back three, a bit of a mess there between Hampton and Goodwin, but it's out for a Chelsea goal kick. But yeah, what we keep seeing is London City getting that ball in behind, and Hampton's doing really well to sweep it, but it's getting a little bit close now between the forwards getting there and Hampton, and even that one there, Hampton cleared it into Goodwin and out for a goal kick. It's just become a bit nervy, a bit more nervy than it needed to be for Chelsea, and that is a misplaced pass from Baltimore. And London City have the ball high up the pitch. Aslani into the box now. It bounces around. It's won back well by Bjorn, who clears her lines. Sharon says, do you think Skinner is in trouble at West Ham? Absolutely. Absolutely in trouble. I was going to have a look at their fixtures coming up. Leicester City next week. If they lose that, I think she's got to go. They have got Everton the week after. I reckon they'll give her to the international break. They've got 2 league fixtures, 2 League Cup fixtures in that time. I think they need a point between now and then at least. If not, they've got to get rid of Ryan Skinner, surely. Because Leicester at home, Everton at home, they're 2 fixtures they've got to win. Realistically, if they want to not be bottom of the league this season, they've got to start winning games soon. Fernandes. Aslani. Gallardo. Fernandes. Wide into Godfrey. Fernandes. Beaver Jones, and now here come Chelsea. Looking to break away. Nusken. out to the right-hand side. Not sure Carpenter's going to get there though, and Imran will win it back. I think with Liverpool, there is a little bit more leeway with Gareth Taylor because you look at the way they're playing football and it's not too bad. It's more the problem for me at Liverpool is the personnel rather than the manager. Whereas at West Ham, you look at some of those forwards and they haven't scored a goal from open play this season. How does that happen with Asayi, Ueki, with Martinez, even players like Fionn Morgan? They're good attacking players. How have they not scored a single goal from open play this season? That for me is really poor. Whereas for Liverpool, you look at their front line, you go, well, fair enough, Cornelia Capox is a good player. The rest of them are very hit and miss. And actually, the way they've played football this season hasn't been too bad. So I give Taylor a little more leeway than I give Skinner, especially since Taylor's new to that role and stuff like that. So, yeah. Highline Productions went to the streams. It's just a terrible year across the board for West Ham. Imagine both senior teams going down in one season. Yeah, I think worryingly, it's not outside the realms of possibility. As you say, I think it's been. I mean, we joked about it even we mentioned it on our grading video we did this week, where we went through all the WSL clubs and we rated their season so far. We spoke about our West Ham. Yeah, across the board, it's been really poor this season. I think it's just a lack of care and understanding really from the higher ups. I think West Ham's defence is just not good enough. I think there are a lot of. I don't know if Ryan Skinner's good enough anymore for the division either as a manager. I think you look at the way they're trying to play football, the decisions she's made, I just don't think they're the right ones. But yeah. And Shams, you are right, Mia Enderby is yet to score a WSL goal, but she is only 20 years old, so it is difficult. Because the only reason she's played as much as she has is because she's played in Liverpool side that aren't particularly good. Ball from Carpenter across the box, chance for Wrighton. Tries to keep the move alive, does touch it down to Baltimore. Chelsea now put it back into the box, but Beaver Jones can't quite get there. Imran wanted to just out of play, managed to keep it out. Keeps it from going for a corner, and knocks out of play for a throw-in instead. Ball into the penalty area, well won back by Linari, and now they'll look to break away London City. And here is Paris, who darts inside, and London City breaking away on the counter charge. Aslani now. Bright with a fantastic recovery there, knocks out of play. So somebody saved Martinez from them. She doesn't deserve to have a relegation to her name. Well, Martinez is an interesting one for me because obviously last season she was fantastic, and in one sense she is. You could say, well, West Ham are playing really badly. That's why she's playing badly. You could also say that last year was just a very, a purple patch. Don't know what Carpenter's been booked for, by the way. We'll have a look. Was Advantage played on this challenge? And yeah, she caught Nikita Paris. That's probably a fair yellow card. Yeah, I just didn't see Advantage given. So Erin Cuthbert goes into the book for that foul on Nikita Paris, who was just getting back to her feet. Fernandez throws down to Aslani, back to Yana Fernandez, puts the ball into the area, looking for Paris, and she's headed that quite considerably wide. Shams asks, from a streaming perspective, do you like the 12 PM kickoffs or do you not mind? Interesting one. I like it on a Saturday because I'm going to go watch my local side at 3 o'clock, so it means this will finish at 2 and it gives me time to get there. So I don't mind it on a Saturday. I guess I don't mind it on a Sunday either. But in terms of the number of streams we can do, it makes it more difficult. Chance to have a good win, smashed over the bar. And that should have been a better opportunity there for London City. Great pressing. They won the ball back from Chelsea. We didn't quite see all the move. They just cut back and London City had a chance. But yeah, Nuskin just gets caught in possession there by Gayoro. And Goodwin's got to hit the target. Got to do better there. But yeah, great pressure from Grace Gayoro. But yeah, Shams, like tomorrow, we would normally have 2, maybe even 3 streams, and we've only got 1. So that does have a bit of an impact. But yeah. Sangare, now Linari. Out to the left-hand side. And it's Imran. Walsh wins it back. Here's Cuthbert. Walsh. Wrighton back now to Kira Walsh. Carpenter. Here is Cuthbert now. Ryzen asks, how is it for you to watch back the other games so you can review them? Most are on YouTube by Monday morning, so it's usually not too bad. It has meant, like, for anyone who watches the show weekly, you'll recognise that it's moved now from the weekend roundups moved now from Mondays to Tuesdays. That's simply because we don't have time to watch all the games anymore. Here is Wrighton, wants to try and make something happen. One back well by London City. And here is Imran. Because normally, I think last season the 12 o'clock slot was usually like all YouTube, so we didn't stream any of it. So we'd sit there and we'd watch all the games. So you gain an understanding pretty much what's happened. But now we have to go back through and watch. I mean, I don't tend to watch full matches unless I am analysing it for the week. So yeah, potentially I'll watch the full match. Depends what the score is. If it's 0-0, I'm not. I'll watch bits of it, but yeah. Anyway, here is London City on the ball. First, Guerrero's been really good today. Yeah, she's done really well to keep winning the ball back. She's been a lot higher, I think, for London City, especially without the ball, than we've seen her this season. That wasn't great there from Bronze. Tried to knock it forward, ends up knocking it out of play. It's another throw-in for London City. So out now for a throw-in. Yeah, we're not far away from half-time. I think Chelsea will be a little disappointed that they haven't scored more in this first half. Since that early goal and a few other fleeting chances, it's been a sort of nothing game. We haven't seen loads of chances at either end. London City have got the ball forwards, but they haven't really tested Hampton at all. Godfrey, ball across the box, blocked well by Baltimore. But we'll look more at the stats at half-time, but London City have yet to put a shot on target in this first half. And, you know, how can you expect to score that way? So they've got to do better. Goodwin had a great chance after Gayoro turned the ball over in the Chelsea penalty area. She had to hit the target with that for me. It's a really good position not to be doing anything with. So London City now with the corner attacking the Shed. Attacking the Matthew Harding. And the ball floated in towards the near post. Not a great delivery. And then there is a foul afterwards from Sangare, not given by the referee, into a good area. Bright gets there, and then it's a shot wide from Linari. But everyone seemed to stop there. I think Sangare, everyone seemed to think that Sangare had fouled or committed a foul there. Paris seems to think it's a penalty. And Sangare is holding her shoulder. So let's have a look at that challenge. Well, Nuskan tried to clear the ball away. Sangare keen to catch her. Was it the other way round? It's definitely not. I don't think it's a foul either way. It's definitely not a penalty. They both seem to hit. They both seem to just touch the ball. But it's the way everyone stopped playing. And it wasn't like London City were protesting. They made it look like a Nuskan foul. Nuskan was fouled, by Sangare. Here's Baltimore. Wants to beat Fernandez. Lovely footwork from Baltimore. Wants to go down the line. One back well by Godfrey. Cuthbert. Now Bright. Out Nuskan to Walsh. Now out to Carpenter. Looking to deliver it. Wants to take on Imran. Bursts around her and it's blocked well by Imran. And that has gone for a corner. Or a goal kick, sorry. Marcel says, a Chelsea fan, that's a pen. HB says, that's a pen. Phil says, how is that not a pen? Didn't look like a pen to me. There's nowhere near enough contact. They both seem to go for the ball and make contact with each other. I'm sure they'll show about 50 replays. Let's have a look. Sangare touched the ball first and then Nuskan touched the ball. It's a really weird one. It's not a penalty. Fernandez. Gayoro. One back well by Bright. Great pressure there from Cuthbert. And that's out now for a throw. And Proisha not happy. There seemed to be a clash between Gayoro and a Chelsea player. I didn't quite see which one. And apparently the referee didn't see it either. And smart there, Gaioro, who is down, has rolled back onto the field of play. So yeah, Walsh. She's just stepped back on Gaioro. It's not intentional. It should have been spotted. It is a foul. It's not intentional though, for Croatia to react the way he has. Zeta says, how's that not a corner? Yeah, not sure on that one either, because it definitely took a deflection off him around the ball into the box. But yeah, the refs are having a weird few moments. We're almost at half time now though. So Gaioro now down, receiving some treatment. And London City will be relieved she managed to get back onto the pitch, because if not, they would have had to treat her off the pitch. Miles says, never mind, just seen it again, not a penalty. Yeah, I just don't think there's anywhere near enough in that to be a penalty. But yeah, 2 minutes of additional time. By the way, we saw that goal in the 6th minute. Not a lot has happened since, to be honest. It's it's been one of those games where Chelsea have come forwards, but London City have looked a lot better defensively since the goal. There's been a lot of times where we've seen quite a fast transition from London City that has caught Chelsea out, but they're not really been able to capitalise on that just yet. Zeta says, I'd like to see Thompson in for Nusken. Yeah, I don't think Nusken's been particularly sharp today. I don't think she is. In those 10 roles where they're sort of, they're not just attacking midfielders. They do have to be quite dynamic to play that position. I just don't think Nusken is that kind of player. I think a Vika Kaptein, a Micah Hamano, even Gura Wright's done really well in that role today. I just don't think Nusken's perfectly suited to it. But in the way she's playing it, she's dropping more into midfield than you'd expect some of those players to. But that's why I think Kaptein's perfect for it. She's such a multifaceted player that she can do a number of roles and do them to a very good standard. Right, back now to Hampton. Lifts out to the right-hand side. Kept in just about there by Bronze. Apparently not in the eyes of the assistant referee on the far side. David says it must be depressing for the opposition looking at Chelsea's bench knowing they can ramp it up. Yeah, absolutely. And that is the half-time whistle. That is Chelsea 1, London City 0 at the break. The goal coming in the 6th minute from Ellie Carpenter. Since then, the game hasn't really burst into life. It has been a fairly even match, though, to be fair to London City. They've done well to make life difficult for the champions. At times, they've had ties. They've broken away fairly effectively, but they're yet to capitalise, yet to even hit the target. We'll talk about all that and more in this half-time break, so don't go anywhere. Give your thoughts in the live chat, and we'll talk them through. But yeah, Stamford La Liga introduced VAR. Yeah, La Liga Femenina did this year. They've got a system, haven't they, where the managers can appeal certain things, which I think is a better way of doing it, because you don't just get the, appealing for everything and then VAR might notice something. But I think that's a better way of doing it, because it means if the team hasn't seen what is a clear and obvious foul or a clear and obvious reason that a goal shouldn't stand or should stand, if you haven't seen it, we don't care as much. If it's a really tight offside, does that need to be checked? Probably not. You probably wouldn't take the risk as a manager if you've only got 1 or 2 checks a game. So I think that would be a better way of doing it, because it just gets rid of those really tight decisions. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever see that in major European competition or anything like that. So, but it has been trialled in a lot of, in La Liga Femenina and in a lot of other more random football leagues. Riley, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Says, nice shirt. Thank you. I picked it up this week. I got the WSL Champions badge in it as well. Had to be done. And Goma name set on the back as well. So, yeah, thank you. Glad you like the shirt. Had to wear it for today with the game. I'm looking forward as well to wearing it next week as we travel to Woolwich. Travel to Arsenal. Right, says, boring bomb pastor. Thank you, Riley, for your input on that. But I don't think it's been too bad a first half. I think since that first goal, it's toned down a little bit from Chelsea. But I think it's more that London City have got better since then. than Chelsea have got considerably worse. I think that Chelsea aren't pushing forwards with perhaps the same desire that they had in the first few minutes. I think that first 10 minutes was excellent football. And you look at the way they played that goal, the way that they played out to the right-hand side in order to break through London City, invite them on, and then play out onto the left-hand side and into all that space, and then create the goal. I think that was a really well-worked move. I think since then, Chelsea have had chances. Aaron Cuthbert won the ball high at the pitch. Probably should... Well, that was actually before that goal. Should have scored. And there were other chances in there for Chelsea as well. I mean, so far in this game, 1.19 XG created, 6 shots, 2 on target, 3 big chances in that first half for Chelsea. So it's again one of those where it could be a very different half if Chelsea had taken those opportunities. So I'm not too worried, especially since London City, they have looked good in transition. London City, when they're coming forwards on the break, when they catch Chelsea out, but broadly they've struggled to actually threaten Chelsea. 0 shots on target in the game so far from 5 attempts, 0.24 XG. So I'm not inherently concerned so far by Chelsea's performance. It's one of those where you would expect them to push on the second half. I think it's missing a spark in attacking midfield. I think a captain, I think a Hermano, obviously ideally one day a Lauren James in that role just completely changes the outlook of that attack. Because you have a player who just creates loads of chances, who gets shots away from range, who makes things tick, that I think Chelsea are lacking at the moment. But yeah. Elsa says, oh, a Gurma shirt, I love it. Thank you, F said. Had to be done. I'm trying to collect a football shirt with every different number. And I've got most now of the first 30 numbers. So yeah, I haven't got number 1 though, I don't think. And there's one other, I think, as well in there. Possibly like 6 or something random like that. But yeah, that's what I'm doing in life. That's all. But yeah, Gurma's number 16, so it had to be done. That's just a very random number 16. Not many players have it. Right, so maybe I'm being harsh. London City have been better than expected, but when I watch games, I don't watch the other team. I watch Chelsea because the onus is always on us to win, never the opponent. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mentioned before, stream day, there was a lot of frustration from Chelsea fans because they want to see this sort of free-flowing, attacking football. I think from Bon Pastor, there is a focus at the moment on results and not just performance. And actually, my thinking has changed slightly. I listened to it was a podcast with Jurgen Klopp on it. It's the Diary of a CEO podcast. I'm not sure many people are familiar, but he spoke about how at most teams in the league, it's all right just to get results. Obviously, he was talking about the Premier League, but I think the same applies to WSL. Most teams in the league, the results are the most important thing. But when you coach one of the top teams in the division, and in the WSL, that would be your Chelseas, your Arsenals, your United and your City, it's not just enough to get results. You've got to play a way that makes the fans excited, gets them off their seats. And so I think to an extent Chelsea haven't done that enough this season. But I think I still prioritise results. And I think at the moment that is exactly what Bon Pastor is doing. I think the way that Chelsea are playing is to grind out the result. I think the way that they have only conceded, 3 goals a season in the league. Best defensive record in the league this season. That's a really important thing in terms of being able to win the title in sort of convincing fashion, but also to be able to compete on the European stage. What we noticed last season in the semi-finals was when they played Barcelona, Chelsea were not good enough defensively and they got opened up that day. If Chelsea are going to beat Barcelona, they've got to be the best defensive side in the world on their day. And so I think there's been a huge effort this season to make Chelsea defensively solid. I think back to the season before last, Emma Hayes' last season, it was a semi-final where in the first leg Chelsea won 1-0, and the reason Chelsea won that game was because they were able to play a 5-back super effectively. Second leg, it came apart a little bit. I blame Elena Dimitrescu. You can blame other things if you want. But on that day, Chelsea didn't have Myra Ramirez either, which made it very difficult to hold the ball up front. But I think looking at what Chelsea are doing this season, it's very much geared towards becoming a side that can beat Barcelona. That's got to be the focus. It's a missing thing now from us, from Bon Pastor's reign at Chelsea. She's got to win the Champions League. Hayes couldn't do it with Chelsea. Bon Pastor won the domestic unbeaten treble last season, didn't lose a single domestic game, and yet they played Barcelona and they lost 8-2 on aggregate or 8-1 on aggregate, something stupid like that. So that's the big hurdle now, and I think everything this season, as much as the league is still important to win, the focus from Chelsea is on how now do they take that step to become European champions. And I think playing a more defensive brand of football is probably the best way of doing it. So I understand to an extent why they're doing it. You look at the way Arsenal won the Champions League last season. That final, they were so good defensively. and even the semi-final against Lyon, they were very good defensively in that second leg. That's the most important thing in European competition, is being really good defensively. But yeah, so I think I understand therefore why we're seeing Bonpastor play this way, even if it's to sacrifice. To the sacrifice of the attacking performances, where you'd expect today, this would probably be under Emma Hayes a 5-0 win, or even under Bonpastor last season a 5-0 win. But I think this season, if it's a 2 or a 3-0 win, but the most important thing is that nil, whereas perhaps it would have been a 5-1 last season, I think that is an important thing for trying to win the Champions League. So I do understand it. Let's talk about that first goal. It was a really nice move from Chelsea. I like what Chelsea are doing this season in terms of how they build out from the back, in terms of being able to play to one side, inviting the pressure on. But because you build this sort of midfield 4 when they are building out from the back, where you've got the 2 pivot players of Cuthbert and Walsh, and you've got Nusken and you've got Wright in ahead of them, you've got a lot of options there to be able to bounce passes off of each other. And obviously with the wing back and the wide centre half, you've sort of got forward with how the midfielders come across to then be able to play through. And obviously what we saw on that occasion was a sort of lifted ball down the line into a Nusken, and her and Wrighton combined, and they're able to knock across to the left-hand side. And it was really nice football to then play through. To knock out to the left-hand side, Baltimore came forwards and she was able to be really threatening. She then took it past Jana Fernandez really well. I think Jana Fernandez did really well to hold her up initially. Thought Baltimore was going to cut in and score. She ended up having to go out wide, but she cut it across the box really well. Annalise should have done better. But yeah, back post Carpenter finished it off really well. So yeah, lovely attacking move from Chelsea. It's the sort of textbook attacking move we've seen from the Blues this season, where they're able to invite teams to press them really well because they've got better technically gifted players. They can play in those tight spaces through the lines of pressure and then play out into what is a load of space left behind. And actually that switch of the play has been so effective for the Blues throughout this season. Ronnie asks, Jack, I don't watch a lot of women's pundits or podcasts, but I'm sure you do. Are people taking into consideration that we have so many important players out, it's never mentioned? Yeah, as you say, James, Ramirez, Germa, all out. I think for me, Lauren James is the most important one. I think Lauren James, I've said it many times on this show before, but I genuinely believe she's the best footballer in the world. I think when you watch the way that she plays football, I mean, obviously, Aitana Bonmati is well up there, and it's a very difficult argument to make, but it's a very personal and subjective thing, who's the best player in the world. But for me, watching Lauren James play, there is no one else that can do the things that she does, the way that she reads the game, the way that she drives it forwards, the way that she combines this innate physicality, but with this blistering pace, the way that she's able to drift past opponents, the way she reads space to be able to carry the ball into it. For me, there's no one better. And I think that is such a big impact on Chelsea to not have a player like that. Because if you look at the games this season where Chelsea have perhaps struggled to break down teams, Lauren James changes that. Not just because she's a player who will pick up the ball and just put it in the back of the net from range. Not just because she's a player who can pick up the ball and create something out of nothing. But also because she's a player who, if you see her on the pitch, in a lot of games, she draws players towards her. And it makes it so much easier then to expose the space around her. So for me, she's absolutely incredible in the way that she is able to completely change games, but also in the way that she completely changes how the opposition plays. So yeah, such an important player to Chelsea. And I haven't watched loads of podcasts, to be honest. The ones I tend to listen to, I do enjoy Decoding the WSL, where I don't think they've mentioned it too much this season. Where that tends to look at stats more. But yeah, I think, you know, you look at the way that I don't watch many of the podcasts from ex or current players. I just don't see the value in them as much as, you know, there's a lot of people who will value how the player goes about their life. It's something I'm not too interested in. But yeah, I think I haven't heard much discourse around it. So I think you're probably right there, Riley. But I think the problem is because a lot of pundits will view and a lot of fans will view Chelsea as a side who are, you know, because they've got so many players, it doesn't matter. And, you know, you see that rhetoric a lot with the men's side, but I think it's probably prevalent as well with the women's side, where you think, well, they don't need Lauren James, they've got all these other players. But I think that discredits just how good those players are, and obviously having those options in those positions are as well. Oracle asks, well, where is Lauren James? Lauren James was at maximum peak at United. Completely disagree. I think she stepped up massively in her work rate, I think in her temperament under Emma Hayes. I think she did so well to nurture Lauren James in a way that we never saw at Manchester United. I think that she's become a lot more of a disciplined player. And at times she is given those 3 roles, and that's when she is the most magic. But she's also become a player who can do different roles now, different jobs for the team. So I think she has become much better. So I do disagree with that. She's injured though. That's what we've seen a lot now for Lauren James, is that struggle with injuries. I think for me, there's got to be an understanding of Lauren James's injury situation. I think you've got to look at how Enzo Maresca has dealt with Reece James's injury problems on the men's side, and that's got to be how Bonpastor approaches Lauren James's return. If she comes back, especially if she comes back in the England side and plays 180 minutes, I'll be furious. She's got to be sort of, and we've seen it with Sam Kerr. That's got to be the treatment with Lauren James, is these gentle 30-minute, 20-minute matches where she's given those opportunities towards the end of the games. And just sort of you build in her fitness over time, rather than, she's back to fitness, 90 minutes, and then she's injured again. It's got to be really careful with Lauren James, because she is the most important player. If Chelsea are going to win the Champions League this season, she has to be fit come March, April time. Absolutely has to be. So that she's got to be protected in that extent, in that way. Oracle B says, do you think Chelsea right now can harm Barcelona? Absolutely they can. Absolutely they can. I think Barcelona are an incredible football team. I think the way they play football is probably second to none. Again, styles all down to preference, but a lot of people tend to prefer possession-based football. I think what Barcelona do very well is that while a lot of teams end up having what is very tiki-taka because they just have a lot of the ball but don't really create chances, I think Barcelona are so good at just being able to completely dominate games. But we saw a fallibility to Barcelona when they lost last season to Arsenal. I think we've seen, because the Spain team is pretty much the same team, I think we've seen a fallibility to them as well. When they come up against a really good defensive team, you can hurt them. And I think that is exactly why Chelsea are playing this way this season. If Chelsea can become an excellent defensive team, they can beat Barcelona. They've got to be so defensively solid, and they've got to be so good at transitions. And I think at the moment, Chelsea have got a bit of work to do on defensive transitions. Again, they'd expect that backline to be a little bit deeper than it is at the moment. I think in the WSL, it's pretty much on the halfway line, and what we see is that there is a little bit of that. When we see teams like today, London City have broken in behind really effectively, whereas you would expect that backline to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more conservative against Barcelona. But yeah, Chelsea have got to be defensively solid, like Arsenal were in that final, and I think that is, and like England were in the Euros. So yeah, I think. You look at where Barcelona are most successful, when they played Bayern in the Champions League already this season. And as Zato says in the live chat, you look at when they played Roma and they didn't have that same level of success. So you've got to be really... And I mean, you've got to make Aitana Bonmati come out in the post-match press conference and complain that the other team didn't come to play football. Because I love that complaint. Because it just dismisses that the opposition worked as hard or harder than you to play a system that is better than what you did on the day. Instead, you just complain. Anyway, London City get us back underway for another 45 minutes. So let's focus on today's game, albeit this conversation is very enjoyable. I do like talking more openly, I guess, about women's football. But yeah, let's focus now on today's game as London City have possession. It's Asllani. Now Imran. Tries to knock it to the left-hand side, out of play for a Chelsea throw. Welcome, by the way, Nigel says, welcome, says, hi Jack, I see that we're both 1-up at half-time, yes. Chelsea leading London City by a goal to nil, and Man City leading West Ham by a goal to nil. I think the only surprise in the City game is that it's somehow not more. But they have only had one shot on target, Manchester City, and that did go in. So, there you go. Chelsea in possession now. Trying to play forwards. By the way, there was a change at half-time for the Blues. Neve Charles come on for Sondy Baltimore. I think that's a good change. Keep Baltimore fit for the Arsenal game. I assume Chelsea will likely play the 3-back in that game as well. So having Baltimore, who is probably the best in that wing-back role, is really important. Linari. Cut out well by Carpenter. Drops in midfield now for Walsh, who heads it down to Ellie Carpenter. And now Bronze. Tries to play it through the lines. Cut out well by Grace Gayoro. Here's Imran. Gayoro. Imran. Back now to Linari. Imran. Lovely burst forward to get away there from Ellie Carpenter. Now it's Kosovari Asllani. And now Imran again. Puts it into the box. Head away well by Neve Charles. Gayoro. Goodwin. And now here's Cuthbert. And Chelsea will look to break away. Kumagai. Now Fernandes. Wants to create something. Strikes it from range and that sails over the bar. And that will be a Chelsea goal kick. Oracle says, does Sonia have any excuse not to win the Champions League or get to the final of the Champions League, given the huge investment Chelsea have given her? Depends, obviously, what happens in individual games. I think excuse is probably the wrong word, but because if Chelsea win the treble this season again, or even win just the league, she's not going to get the sack. But there will be a desire to win the Champions League to continue to be competitive. But yeah. Lee Watches the Streams came back from doing the fantasy, don't even know if some of the players even play. Fair enough. Chelsea on the ball. Walsh into Beaver Jones, back to Kira Walsh, knocks it forward into Wrighton round the corner. Lovely football here from Chelsea. Charles cuts it back. Lenari gets in front of it, and that is out for a Chelsea corner. Chelsea is showing a bit more attacking intent there as they move the ball forwards. And now a corner for the Blues, and it's Erin Cuthbert to take. And she'll look to deliver the ball into the penalty area now, into a good area. Punched away well by Leet. Walsh. Back to Wrighton, who will look to put it back into the penalty area. Headed away well by Lenardi, and that's out for another corner. And Chelsea can continue to keep the pressure on here. Lenari did well to deal with that. But Chelsea are the side of the most set-piece goals since the start of last season. And well, with Wrighton taking corners today, they have looked a lot more threatening than they did against Tottenham a few weeks ago. So Wrighton on this again. Ball into the box. And that's headed out for another corner. Lenardi. Well, actually, I think it may have been Goodwin that time. Getting in front of it. So Wrighton to take again. This is a good delivery into a dangerous area. Bounces through though. And now Nusken. Back to Carpenter. She knocks out to this right-hand side where Wrighton is back into the fray. Puts the ball into the area. Too close though to the goalkeeper. And now LCL will look to play out. Leet rolls it out to Linari. Imran. Into Gayoro. Bronze misses her with a challenge. Cuthbert recovers well. And it's out for a London City throw-in on this near side. She aficionados says Chelsea have been the favourites of the Champions League for the last 3 years and have still failed. I don't think Chelsea have been the favourites in any of the last 3 years. I think Barcelona have been the favourites for obvious reasons. Here's Godfrey, wants to take on Charles, cuts inside, lets it fly, and it's collected well by Hannah Hampton. And now Chelsea will look to play out from the back again. Bright. Out wide into Charles. Now Beaver Jones, Wrighton, back towards Beaver Jones. But it's a really good recovery there from Sangare. Leet. Now Imran. Back to Leet. Lovely pass forwards into Linari. Now Sangare. Chested down well by Goodwin. One part of the pitch here by Chelsea. Nusken. Wrighton. Wide towards Carpenter. Really important interception from Imran. Cuthbert picks up the pieces. Back to Carpenter. Bronze. So says, I think Arsenal winning it again before Chelsea puts more pressure on it. Yeah, I'd agree. I'm not looking forward to hearing any chants from Arsenal fans at the Emirates. Especially about Champions Leagues. But I think it'll make it even sweeter when Chelsea do win one. Bronze. Now Carpenter. Pokes it through the lines towards Beaver Jones. Looks to get around Gaioro. Really good defending from Grace Gaioro, and it's out now for a corner. And Chelsea now with another chance to put it in the box and put some pressure on this London City defence. So corner now. And again, it is Guro Wrighton over it. Lays it short to Cuthbert, back to Wrighton. Onto the edge with Walsh, now back to Cuthbert. It's a nice routine, but no one, not quite on the same wavelength there, Walsh and Cuthbert. If they were, that could have been dangerous. Lee says Bonmati will win the Ballon d'Or again. Bonmati could be out injured for this entire season. She'd win the Ballon d'Or. It's a pointless award. Imran knocks it down the line. Great hold up from Paris, now knocking it in behind for Gaioro. And it's won back well by Cuthbert. Now Bright. Looking for a forward option out wide now to Charles. Hampton. Here's Bjorn. Bronze. Walsh. Wide into Carpenter. Imran putting her under pressure. Back now to Bronze. I think the move to this sort of right centre-half position will be really good for Bronze as well. Because I think there's got to be some consideration to the fact that she's 34 now and can't play right back forever. But centre-back, because it's less of a strain, may just keep her, playing for another 2 years potentially. Whereas, you think at right back, this could well be her last season. But yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Chelsea do there. I think obviously Carpenter coming in was with that in mind, with the fact that there isn't going to be, Bronze isn't going to play forever. But yeah. Double change now for Chelsea. So Sonia wants to potentially inject a bit more energy into this side. It's Carnereid and Orion Jean-Francois coming on. And that'll be the end of the afternoon for Siok and Nusken. Presumably then Jean-Francois will go into the pivot and we'll see a slightly higher role for... Oh, Gurayan's coming off as well. So a slightly higher role for Cuthbert and then Carnereid out wide. This is going to be interesting. So yeah, double change. Carnereid on Jean-Francois on, Nusken off, Wrighton off. A little surprised because that is going to leave Wrighton quite narrow. So I'm not sure is her best role. Linari. Sends it forward. Goodwin heads on. And that'll roll on through to Hannah Hampson. Bright. Here is Charles. Plays it forwards. Headed away by Sangare. One out of the pitch here by Gaioro. Goodwin. Gaioro. Paris. Imran. Fernandez. Sangare now. Linari. All the way back to Leet. And across now to Linari. Sangare now down the line and London City looking to hurt Chelsea in behind. Here's Godfrey. Flicks it past Bright. That's too easy for Freya. Godfrey cuts inside across the box. It's a misplaced cross. And that won't trouble Chelsea. Imran will keep it alive. On this near side, Aslani. Now Gaioro. That is now out for... Oh, it's a free kick actually. It'll be a London City free kick. Shearfish says, do you reckon you'll ever do members watch-alongs where you set 1 or 2 subscribers to join the stream maybe somewhere in the future? Well, we are going to ask for any suggestions of what to do with the memberships. We've recently brought in memberships. At the moment, we're looking at doing specific videos that will be members only. I don't want to do too much because I don't want this channel to be inaccessible to anyone. So, of course, the bulk of our content will be free. I've also made the memberships as cheap as possible, really. And all membership options will be given the same perks, whatever. But yeah, if anyone's got any suggestions like that, feel free to let us know. We'll mull them over. I don't know if we do it for watch-alongs, but we would, maybe if it was something like like we did over the summer, where we did those deadline day streams and sort of like a roundup of the transfer window. If we did sort of like a Friday night preview show, we could get people on to talk. The risk with that, obviously, is that inviting strangers on to talk can go very well, it can go very badly. So, yeah, that's something we'll think about. Walsh knocks it in behind. But of course, we do want more audience participation. We have had stuff like the Hot Take series before, which we may do another edition of soon. Out now for a Chelsea goal kick. There's a London City trying to play in behind quickly there. Didn't quite come off. David says, wonder if they'll keep Buchanan. I hope so. I really like Kadisha Buchanan. I think she's a top player. I think she's still, only 32 or something like that? Oh, 29. Younger than I thought. So I think she could still offer a few more years. It all depends on how she comes back from that ACL injury. I think I'd be more inclined to let Bright leave at the end of the season than Buchanan. But again, it depends on the injury. Carnreid wants to chop back inside. Here's Jean-Francois. Now Beaver Jones on the edge. Pokes it to Cuthbert. Wider still to Carpenter. Can she come up with a delivery? Tries to win the box. Blocked well by Imran. And so another Chelsea corner. Another chance for Chelsea to threaten from these set pieces. And that is their 6th or 7th corner of the game, I believe. But yeah, second half, haven't really threatened Chelsea yet to have a shot. London City have come into the game a lot more than the Blues would have want them to. Ball into the box, headed into the air and over the bar by Natalie Bjorn. I'm sure that registers as a shot, though I'm not sure how threatening that would have been, or an elite would have felt by that. Or Elaine Elite, sorry. Anyway, playing out from the back now on London City. Pass forwards. One back there by Bjorn. Walsh into Cuthbert, wide into Carpenter. Here come Chelsea. Carpenter back to Bronze. Jean-Francois. Now out to Millie Bright. Plays it wider into Charles. Jean-Francois back to Charles. Ball into the box, and that is cleared away well. Shams asks, are you doing Arsenal-Chelsea next Saturday? Looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to the game. Unfortunately, we're not live for it. We are going to the match. That always tends to be the one that we do. Because we're live for every other game, really, in the WSL. But we always do Arsenal at home and away to go and watch. I think it finds a nice balance. Then with Champions League games, it will depend on the draw. Here is Bronze. Knocks out wide to Carpenter. And back now to Bronze. But yeah, second half, London City have had more touches in the opposition box, more shots on target than Chelsea. More big chances created as well. Still half an hour to go. I think London City will believe they can get something from this game, and Chelsea have got to sort of shut that down immediately. Here is Carnreid. Needs support. Wants to take on Linari here. Back to Carpenter. Pokes it through the lines well into Carnreid, who's breaking into the penalty area. Across to Beaver Jones. It's blocked well there by Fernandez. Important intervention. And now here's Carpenter. Beaver Jones. Strong from Sangare. Beaver-Jones does well to hold on to the ball, though. Great footwork from Aggie Beaver-Jones. Pokes it down at Carpenter, and that's a foul from Gaioro. And that's a Chelsea free kick on the edge of the box. Brilliant work there from Aggie Beaver-Jones. Davis is loving all the rotation from Sonia. Will pay huge dividends as the season progresses. Yep, completely agree. I think, you know, when you look at the back half of the season, hopefully Chelsea will have the most players available. You're already looking at some sides in the WSL who perhaps don't have the same sort of depth. You look at United and City, and well, they've got huge problems because they don't have the players to rotate in. Whereas Chelsea, using their deep squad, rotating well, should be in a good position. Sorry, it's Wassa Sangare made the challenge, not Grace Gaioro. So a yellow card to Sangare, and a Chelsea free kick now on the edge of the box. And well, we've seen Beaver-Jones have a lot of success from this sort of area. She scored in the game against West Ham with a free kick at this sort of range. She had one denied by the wall in the England game on Tuesday night, but then she lashed home the rebound. Can she find a similar success from this one? Well, it's Beaver-Jones who will step up and take it, and that is a really poor effort. Just lifting it into the Chelsea fans. Phil says this is Beaver-Jones territory, perfect angle for her. Well, that's what we thought, alas. Sharon says United making 3 signings in January, hopefully. Well, we know there is interest in Hannah Lundqvist. I believe Hannah is her first name. I know it's definitely Lundqvist. But yeah, she will be, I think she'll do very well. That's a very good signing. I also saw it was announced yesterday that there is interest from Arsenal in Smilia Holmberg, another Swedish fullback, potentially join the double. So I think it'd be really good to have a backup to Fox. And almost there, London City caught out, trying to play out from the back. Beaver-Jones got in front of it, couldn't quite keep it under her control. Bright does well there, steps up into midfield to win the ball back, gives it to Cuthbert now. Can't quite find Beaver-Jones with it. Cuthbert trying to fight for it back. And here's Gaioro. Carpenter. Cuthbert plays it through the lines. Carnereed can't quite adjust in time to get there. And so London City now looking to play out from the back. Leet. Sends it forwards, header one there by Bronze, now Jean-Francois. Bronze again. Lifting it forwards, looking for Carnereed. Wants to take on Lenari. Carpenter. Ball into the area, chance now, headed away well. But actually apparently it's come off the head of Erin Cuthbert. This will be a goal kick. Sharon says London City have only conceded 1. They're doing good. I think they've played well today, yeah. I think they've learnt from their results against United, Arsenal and Manchester City, where they conceded, I think, a total of 14 goals or something like that. I think they've learnt from those games. They've been a lot better defensively today. Francie, by the way, on now for Freya Godfrey, so change out wide for London City. I also think Chelsea play a very different style to those teams. All those teams conceded to London City, a lot more open. They're very aggressive, but yeah. Whereas Chelsea are a bit more conservative than those sides, but equally they haven't conceded in this game yet. Carpenter. Now Carnereed. Now to Walsh. Beaver-Jones. Cuthbert. Cuts inside. Let's fly. Blocked well by Sangare. A bit of a mess there between him and Moran. But Fernandez getting it clear. It sounds like Arsenal adding depth but not improving on anything. We've been terrible in the market recently. Yeah, I thought last summer was really poor from Arsenal. I think there's a lot of ageing players and that hasn't been addressed. Cuthbert there breaks past him around, is barreled down. Unfortunately, I think Kirsty Dow closed her eyes there. Didn't see it. So it's a London City goal kick. She aficionado says, come on London City, a draw will be so juicy league-wise. Well, it would be, of course. It would hand Manchester City, sorry, not Manchester City, but it would put them close to the title. In fact, it would send them top, I think. And give United a chance to go top or ahead of Chelsea as well. Here is Carnery. Cross now to Beaver Jones. Flicked on to Charles. Puts it into the box. Doesn't quite, well, it doesn't stay in. It's out for a goal kick. So, 23 minutes to go. Chelsea still only leading by the narrow 1-goal advantage. Got to start taking their chances. 2.26 XG in this game. Only 2 shots on target, though. Got to do better, Chelsea. Imran. Bursts inside. Cut out there by Jean-Francois. Here's Charles. Beaver Jones. Fashions the shot. It's wide of the mark. Got to do better there. Have Chelsea. Such a great chance. I think the other one that's interesting is Man City. Still only a goal ahead against West Ham. Still only 1 shot on target in that game from Manchester City. Beaver Jones just doesn't quite catch that well. Or as well as you would expect. Kumagai heads it forwards, cut out by Bjorn. Now out wide to Carpenter, passed inside to Cuthbert. He's going to get dragged into our own corner here. Back now to Bronze. And now Hampton. Hannah Hampton looking to go long. That's right in behind, looking for Carnery. All the way through though to Annalete. Ryerson says, I'm surprised Macario and Thompson haven't been brought on. Yeah, you'd think they'd be Chelsea would be looking at their attacking players on the bench. Your likes of your Sam Kerr. As you say, Macario, Thompson. Even a captain, just someone that could unlock. I mean, they have now made changes in attacking areas, but you would think about that number 9 role. Here is Carnery, wants to take on Lenari, comes off Lenari, and out for a corner. No writing on the field, though. I'm interested to see who takes this one. And so, Chelsea with another corner. I think it's going to be Erin Cuthbert, just because I don't see her in shot. And it is indeed. Hopefully it won't be as bad delivery as we saw last time out against Tottenham. Ball into the area, not a bad ball. Punched away as far as Walsh lets fly. Didn't quite catch it right though. And that's wide of the mark. RC onto the stream. RC, is Berman playing? Nope, Viola Berman hasn't started this game. She is, I believe, amongst the... No, she's not amongst the substitutes either. With Germa back, she makes the bench. No Viola Berman. But yeah, London City now playing out from the back. Lee launches it forwards. Bright against Francie. Strong from Millie Bright. And one back there by Charles. Hampton. I think Chelsea would have wanted to give Germa 20 minutes today, but with it so tight, it would be a bit of a risk. Here's Carnery. And Imran stands her up well and wins it back. Should have done better there. Jonah Ritson-Carnery had the one-on-one. Most wingers thrive in that sort of situation. So throwing now on this near side. Carpenter. Tries to put it into the box, it's blocked. And that is into the hands of Leet. Who looks to get this move going quickly. That's a poor throw though. Francie can't get there. Bright does, but she clears it onto the head of Charles, who nods it on. And now Fernandez into Francie. Kumagai into the run of Fernandez. Bjorn will get there though and launches it into the West Stand. Throwing now on the far side for London City. This game's getting a little nervy now. for the Blues. Just haven't quite capitalised on their dominance to find a second goal. Here's Paris, now Aslani, London City coming forwards. Imran wants to take on Carpenter into a dangerous area, blocked away well by Bronze. Carpenter back to Bronze, who now launches it forwards. Lenari heads backwards to Sangare, now Kumagai. Fernandez plays it through into Goodwin, quick off her line is Hampton. And that is really good goalkeeping. Now Bright. Charles, Jean-Francois. Lovely move down the left-hand side. Beaver Jones now. And they'll look to switch from left to right. Cuthbert tries to squeeze out to Carpenter. Does so. Here comes Chelsea. Wants to take on Imran. Really good defending there from Imran. Blocked well by Bronze, who will burst into midfield now to get the ball. Knocks it wide into Carpenter. Chelsea now with players in the final third. Ball in to Charles, who'll meet it, but wide of the mark. Better options there than to swing that into the box. Chelsea still probing, wanting that second goal. A good win, yeah, broke through. Great goalkeeping from Hannah Hampton. Bright heads to Charles, back to Bright. And now out for a London City throw. Chelsea now readying changes, and that is Sam Kerr coming on to the field, and that'll be the end of the afternoon for Ellie Carpenter. So this will presumably now be a flat 4 for Chelsea. Beaver Jones to the left-hand side, left wing. Carnarvon right wing, Sam Kerr through the middle, and Bronze will now go to right back, Charles to left back. And so Ellie Carpenter makes way after 73 minutes. A goal for her today, a clean sheet as well. So far, good performance, and now Kerr on up front to lead the line for Chelsea. So 4-3-3 now. Fernandez. Nope, not 4-3-3. Carnarvon's gone right wing back. Should have remembered that can happen. Throw in now. Francie. One back there by Walsh. Spills forwards now to Kerr. Tries to go back to Jean-Francois. It's just too fast though, and she can't quite keep hold of it. It's Bright. Poor touch from Millie Bright. Gets away with it though, and she knocks it out of play. So a London City throw in now. Ball down the line is Goodwin. Tries to put it into the box. It's a wild delivery though. That's out for a goal kick. Quarter of an hour left. Can Chelsea find a second, or could London City find an equaliser? Well, it's Chelsea with the ball. Here's Bjorn. Looking for a forward option. Kerr drops in to receive it. Tries to poke it forwards. Back to Beaver Jones. Now Cuthbert. But Beaver Jones apparently was in offside position. It's interesting. So Chelsea's now a 3-5-2. Which is, you know, sort of something we expected to see Chelsea try at some point this season. They've got to fit in Beaver Jones. They've got to fit Sam Kerr, Myra Ramirez, all into the same team. Will it work? London City now ready substitutes as well. Bronze now to Cuthbert. Back to Bjorn, who's under pressure, does well. Get it to Hampton. Now Bronze. Sent it down the line. And Kerr will try and get there. Lenari knocks out of play. Chelsea throw in though. Phil says I need Kerr to put up some fantasy points for me. Yeah. Fair enough. Chelsea throwing now on this near side. So look to go down the line. It is Rodder and Poppy Pattinson, that looks like. Well, Nikita Paris has made way and Grace Gayoro has made way. Just trying to work out what they're doing here, London City. Rods are on into midfield. That's a fairly like-for-like one. Paris off, Pattinson on though. Not sure I can make sense of that one quite as much. Presumably a shape change for London City then, some sort of 5-back. With Pattinson at left wing back or left midfield. Or, no, Imran's gone to left wing, Pattinson to left back. Fair enough. Here's Bronze. Knocked forwards, Kerr wins it back low to Pattinson. Here's Aslani, drops for Kumagai. Cuthbert tries to put it into the box, blocked well. Pattinson up against Cuthbert now, out for a throw. And here is Lucy Bronze. Can Chelsea find a second goal? Bronze. Beaver Jones, back to Bronze. Beaver Jones. Bronze. Down the line towards Carnereed. Imran wins it back. Actually committed a foul in there. Ref, I'm not sure what she's given. I think it might just be a throw for Chelsea. She was quite aggressive there in the back of Carnereed, and she seems to have hurt herself in the process. She's holding her calf in a lot of pain, seemingly. I think it might just be cramp. Or at least that's what Linari thinks it is. But I mean, that looks to be hurting a lot of it is cramp. And Carnereed there, just recovering after being caught. I'm not sure it is cramp. I've never seen a player react that way to cramp. Must just be severe. But yeah. She overstretched. It was a foul. She's caught Carnereed on the top of the foot. And yeah, goes down in discomfort. Looks like the most painful cramp I've ever seen. Hope she's all right. And the clock still ticking down. 10 to play here, but we will wait here as Imran receives treatment. And the physio's getting some gels into her, trying to relieve that cramp. Hopefully, nothing to worry about. They seem to have done a good job of it. She seems to be back ready to continue. She'll have to go off for a moment though after receiving treatment. So Chelsea, so London City throw as well, for good measure. So London City now will look to play from the left-hand side with this throw-in. Pattinson sends it forwards. Bronze. Now Carnereed. And now out for a Chelsea throw-in, which Pattinson thought was hers. She's not happy about it. She's tried to take it, has gone back for a Chelsea throw. Carnereed. Places Jean-Francois. Bronze. Puts it in the box. Beaver Jones tries to meet it. Can't steer it goalwards. Chelsea throwing now on the far side. Beaver Jones thinks she was thrown to the floor in there. Unfairly. Referee though not giving anything. And I think that might be the end of Imran's game. She is substituted for Lindstrom. So yeah, Lotte Lindström on to, I think she's gone to the right-hand side by the looks of it. Or she may just be defending on the other side of the pitch for a moment. So Imran taken off there after that cramp. Lindström does go to the left-hand side. Charles. Back now to Bjorn. Bronze lashes it forwards. Let's go right over the top into Leet. Linari. Out wide into Pattinson. Ball down the line. Into Lindström. Aslani. Not had a play by Carnreid, out for a London City throw in again. And there's an urgency about the way London City are playing now. Pattinson. Throws in towards Aslani. One back there by Chelsea. Now they'll look to play in behind. That pass to Kerr though, not quite finding her. Linari. Out of play. Oh, no, it's kept alive by Aslani. I didn't realise she was even there. Camera didn't pan quick enough. Throw now for Bronze on this near side. Down by Pattinson. Bronze. Kerr tries to flick on. One back well by Sangare. Under pressure now from Cuthbert. Does keep it low somehow. Pattinson trying to burst down the line. One back well by Bronze, who's clipped down. Aslani tries to burst through trouble. Welsh managed to knock out a play. London City throw. Down the line from Pattinson. Headed forward by Bronze. Played over the top, looking at that. For Francie, it's cleared away well though by Charles. So 7 minutes to play. London City starting to put the pressure on. There is now a change coming for Chelsea, and that's Vika Kaptein coming on to the field. And that will be the end of number 33's afternoon. That's Aggie Beever-Jones. Coming off another week where Beever-Jones struggled a little bit, you felt, in this game after the first 4 matches where she scored in all of them. She's now had 3 where she hasn't found the back of the net. So Chelsea will be hoping she can find her spark soon. But a difficult morning for Aggie Beever-Jones. Francie. Fernandez. One back well by Kaptein. Drops though for Rodar into the box. Head away well by Bjorn. Now Kaptein gets it away. Kumagai. Pattinson. Plays it through the lines. Aslani flicks it to Lindström. Into the box. And that is all good claim from Hampton. Much the frustration there of London City. Should have been a better ball from Lotte Lindström. But yeah, just doesn't quite. There's no height on it. No threat really from that delivery. Ball forwards into Kerr, who can't quite keep it under her control. Just want to throw in though. And now Chelsea's going to look to build up the line. Though Bronze not in as much a rush as Jocelyn Preuscher is. So Bronze sends it into Kaptein. Plays it in behind now, looking for the run off Carnreid. Out of play though for a London City throw-in. Pattinson into Rodar, back to Pattinson. Now Bronze plays it forward into Kerr, who heads on. Jean-Francois now. Can't quite keep it under her control. Charles. And Aslani, they'll look to break away. Good win though from Chelsea. It's Bright in there, who won the ball back. And now Bjorn. Bronze. Hampton. Here is Natalie Bjorn. Hampton. And now she sends it out to the right-hand side. Carnreid can't quite get there. Pattinson heads it away. Here is Bronze. Now Bright. Bjorn. Into Walsh. Great hold up there from Kira Walsh. Now out to Carnareid. Tries to find Kerr. One back well by Jean-Francois. Option on the left-hand side here. Knocks it out wide. Into Neve Charles. Here come Chelsea. Captain. Bright. Out wide to Carnareid. Can she climb up with a delivery? Good defending though from Pattinson. And it's a Chelsea corner. That's a little unfortunate. I think they came back off Carnareid, to be fair. So Chelsea now with this set piece. Let's have a look. Yep, definitely came back off Carnareid. Not sure what the lino has seen there. Not sure. Chelsea now with the delivery. Ball in. Headed away well. And now they'll look to break away. Lindstrom looking for Aslani. One back well by Bronze. Carnareid. Now Walsh. Captain into Walsh. Now Captain again. Walsh. Captain. Cuthbert. Walsh. Back to Carnareid. Now Bronze. Lifts it forwards. Cuthbert can't quite get there. Here's Pattinson under pressure. Sends it down the line. Captain will get there first. Bronze. Lovely flick from Carnareid. Cuthbert was offside though. So she leaves it and Pattinson launches it forwards. And Bronze, a bit of a haphazard clearance up in the air. Tries to win it again. Aslani though does well. The two competing. Carnareid now beats Kumagai. Out of play for a Chelsea throw as Kumagai knocks it out of play. Throw in now for Bronze. Who can she find? In a forward area. Goes down the line into Carnareid. Good hold up. One back well though by Pattinson. And now Bronze is brought down. Here comes Captain. Driving it forward. Trying to poke it through the lines. Back to Captain. Can't quite wriggle the room for the shot. And here come London City. Francie. Darts inside. Aslani. Now Pattinson. Puts into the box. Cleared away by Charles. Kumagai. Fernandez. Francie to Goodwin who knocks it wide. And that was a good move. Not rewarded with a goal at the end of it though. London City. And that's the thing I think throughout today, while they have competed, they've never really looked like scoring. 0.52 XG created, only 2 shots on target. I mean, it's the same amount as Chelsea, but Chelsea, for reference, with 2.5 XG created. We are now getting to added time, which will be 5 minutes more in this game. 5 minutes for London City to try and find an equaliser. 5 minutes for Chelsea to try and extend their lead, make this a little more comfortable in the closing stages. Hampton will send it forwards. From this goal kick. City still haven't finished the job against West Ham either. Only 1-0 in that game. Will either of the top two drop points this morning? At the moment, they won't. Here comes Carnareid bursting in behind. Can she get the shot away? And just over the bar from Joanna Ritting. Carnareid. She broke in behind well, clips the shot towards that front post, towards the top corner. It's a great flick on from Sam Kerr through the lines. Carnareid does well to get there. Just can't quite direct it goalwards. Header up in the air, bounces around. Here come London City. Lindstrom wide to Aslani. Clipped into the box. Hampton out well to claim it. And now she'll try and slow this down as much as possible. Hampton kicks from feet. Captain now will try and put pressure on it. Sangari lets it bounce through to Leet. Fernandez plays it in behind, looking now for the run of Rodder. Options in the box. That's headed away well by Bronze. Pattinson pokes towards goal. Hampton does well to get across to it. Phil says Hampton's been off her line to clean up a few times, but not really tested. Very solid from Chelsea. And that's the thing, while Chelsea haven't been as incredible going forwards as we'd like, they haven't ever looked like conceding. Hampton launches it forwards. That's going to go all the way through to Elena Lee. Linari. Again, it's just pumped along at this stage. That run all the way through to Hampton. A waste of possession there for London City. Already anticipating this coming straight back to them. And it will now. That's Hampton. Kicks it out to the right-hand side. Carnereed tries to get there. Pattinson, though, does well to put her off. And that is a London City throw. Unsurprisingly, Sky award their Player of the Match award to the goal scorer Ellie Carpenter. Ball in behind now. Kerr will give chase. Will she get the head of Lee? Lee heads it away. Well, unorthodox for a goalkeeper. Drops back now for Kerr, who can take aim, and that is magnificent. Sam Kerr dinks the goalkeeper from range, and it's Chelsea 2, London City Lionesses 0. And there's the goal the Blues needed just to make this comfortable. Leet came out to claim. It was a bizarre decision to head it back into play. It drops for Sam Kerr, and that is a delicious dink from the Aussie. Brilliant goal from Kerr. You'd expect nothing less from a player of her pedigree. Leet heads it clear, not sure what Pattinson's doing. The touch is poor, and Sam Kerr take a bow. Chelsea 2, London City 0. And that is phenomenal from Sam Kerr. Brilliant dink. And London City, unlikely now to see something from this game. Chelsea rejoice, and the Blues remain top of the league. That is a brilliant goal. Everyone's just happy for Phil in the live chat. Fair enough. 2 goals from Aussies today for the Blues. Ellie Carpenter with the first, Sam Kerr with the second. And well, she's in the mood now. She looks to play in behind. Good defend though from Sangare to stop her. Linari, Pattinson, London City not giving up despite the slim odds of anything happening, but they've lost the ball. Carnery can't quite keep it though. And now it's Kumagai, gives it away cheaply. Carnery just slowing the game down. Bronze plays it forward, headed down by Linari. Now Pattinson makes a bit of a mess of it. Cuthbert's won it back. Bronze. Into Captain. Wide now into Carnereed. Can she take on Pattinson? Back to Captain. Carnereed. Captain back to Carnereed. Can she make something happen here? Ball into the penalty area. Cleared away well by Sangare. And that is full time here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 2, London City Lionesses 0. A big win for the Blues as they maintain their unbeaten start to the campaign. That's not extra time, apologies. There we go. It's full time here at Stamford Bridge. Goals from Ellie Carpenter in the 6th minute and Sam Kerr in the 92nd minute. A tap in from Carpenter, a delightful dink from Kerr. And Chelsea come away with the 3 points. And once again, stay top of the division as they move up onto 19 points from 7 matches. From 6 will be impossible. From 7 games. Incredible start to the season. They face Arsenal next Saturday. That'll be very enjoyable. Join us tomorrow as we have more WSL action. And make sure to look out on Monday or Tuesday, depending on when we get it recorded, for our weekend roundup. Look out for that in the week. That, though, is everything. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're a long-term viewer of the channel and you love the content we do and want to help us out even more, we now have memberships available as well. So if you want to become a member and help support us even more, please feel free to do so. That is everything, though. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next time.